The storm rages as our main character lunges through the pouring rain with a demonic aura. He grips his spear tightly, but this weapon is wrapped in ancient talismans meant for a divine kill. Lightning strikes the massive beast as the energy pierces through the target with a devastating impact. Every single strike shatters the ground and releases a shockwave that echoes through the entire valley. Scarred by battle and facing death, he starts laughing like a complete madman because he finally won. Terrified enemies watch from afar and wonder if this monster is even human after such a brutal fight. A blue dragon spirit emerges from the depths and laments its failure to ascend after 900 years. Ancient seals burn brightly inside the beast's eye as it realizes the hunter came fully prepared today. It roars in pure agony as the protagonist dives straight into the maw of the dying divine creature. Victory comes at a heavy price and the warrior collapses to his knees under the weight of his own wounds. That massive serpent falls to the earth and wonders what the man could possibly gain from this mission. Rain washes over the warrior as he explains that he only wanted to repay a debt to his old benefactor. His eyes turn to the sky as he wonders if this sacrifice is finally enough to satisfy the ghost of his past. One last question remains as the creature asks for the name of the master who commanded this servant. This final question hangs in the air as the massive beast fades into the shadows of the eternal storm. A massive pillar of golden light erupts from the earth and consumes everything in a blinding flash of pure destruction. Deep in the void, he feels his consciousness slipping away as if his very existence was destined to fade into nothing. Sudden rhythmic thuds echo through the darkness until the warrior realizes his own heart refuses to stop beating today. His demonic form flickers with a new source of power because even without mana his physical body remains incredibly tough. Trapped within a strange dimension of shadows, the hero reaches out to touch the invisible walls surrounding his soul. Rage burns inside him because no seal can force this warrior to submit to a fate chosen by someone else in the dark. Focused eyes pierce through the gloom as he prepares to unleash every single ounce of hidden strength left in his veins. Reality shatters like glass when the protagonist exerts his will and breaks free from the mental prison holding him back. Cold air fills his lungs as the man wakes up on a dusty floor littered with small paper boats that look out of place. Every muscle aches with intense pain as he struggles to breathe while realizing his divine energy has totally vanished. Golden light reflects off a mountain of legendary coins and artifacts piled high inside this mysterious hidden chamber. Each item in this hoard radiates an extraordinary aura that suggests they belong to an ancient and powerful civilization. Treasure chests overflowing with jewels sit untouched and leave the warrior wondering who could possibly own such riches. Something different catches his eye among the gold as he notices a peculiar stone slab covered in ancient inscriptions. This slab is actually a tombstone for a child who never lived to see the sun and brings a heavy silence to the room. Crimson eyes open wide as the former warrior questions if this strange room was actually meant for raising a child. Something feels weird and squishy beneath him, so he touches the surface with a soft and unfamiliar sensation. Panic starts to set in as the protagonist realizes that his vision is far lower to the ground than ever before. This legendary fighter looks into the distance and wonders what on earth happened to his once majestic face. Those powerful legs are gone and replaced by tiny black limbs that look absolutely useless for a real battle. A round and chubby belly hangs from his frame, making him look more like a stuffed toy than a lethal monster hunter. His new form is soft and bouncy as he struggles to comprehend why his body changed into this adorable nightmare. The reflection confirms the worst fear because the mighty servant is now a tiny creature with small wings. Denial fills his mind since this pathetic ball of fur could never be the man who killed the dragon. Calmness finally returns as he accepts that humans usually call this bizarre phenomenon a successful reincarnation. Logic fails to explain this weird world, but he decides to keep moving forward despite the confusion. Our hero walks across a mountain of gold coins hoping to find something useful among the massive piles of wealth. Spirit swords and magical talismans lay scattered everywhere, proving the owner of this place has some very dark hobbies. One shield carries a classic curse that turns people into solid stone just by looking at the carved face. Another artifact nearby holds the curse of eternal hunger, which is just another cliché item in this hoard. The tiny dragon stares at a strange potion that claims to trade a voice for human legs. Bright lights illuminate the chamber as the beast wonders if these treasures were meant to seal a dark power. Something sparkles among the pile of gold coins as a red gemstone rolls right toward his feet. His eyes widen with greed as the reflection of pure wealth glimmers inside those tiny pupils. Mountains of golden coins and expensive necklaces cover the entire floor of this ancient hidden vault. This small creature stands atop a chest and realizes he is looking at a literal mountain of endless treasure. Pure joy fills his heart as he celebrates hitting the ultimate jackpot in the middle of this quest. This isn't just regular gold because he senses a magical artifact buried deep within the shining pile. A dark energy resonates from a purple gem and reminds the creature of his true power from the past. Determination takes over his tiny body because he absolutely must claim this prize for himself today. The golden setting blocks his prize and makes the little monster quite frustrated with the intricate design. Tiny claws grip the gem and pull until it finally begins to shift from its resting place. Muscles tense up as the tiny warrior refuses to let go of the most precious item in the room. He falls onto his back and kicks the air to break the treasure free from its cage. Golden branches creak under the pressure as he gives one final push to claim his dark reward. Gravity pulls his chubby body down as he loses his footing on the massive pile of treasures. Sharp teeth clench the purple stone because there is no way he will let go of this loot today. Our hero rolls down the hill of gold coins looking like a pathetic ball of fluff instead of a warrior. Every bone in this tiny frame screams in agony from a fall that used to feel like nothing. His crimson eyes focus on a strange vibration that starts shaking the very foundation of the room. Thousands of gold coins dance across the floor as a massive energy begins to manifest from thin air. Small limbs shake while the warrior wonders what kind of monster possesses such a heavy aura. Reality rips apart in a swirl of blue lightning as a dimensional rift opens right above the horde. One glance at those small paws makes him question if his previous self could ever defeat this being. Memories of his true identity as a terrifying black dragon flash through his mind to restore his pride. The blue vortex expands until it consumes the entire ceiling with a blinding flash of ancient magical power. A massive claw sharper than any spear emerges from the light and crushes the stone floor with ease. That giant blue eye stares down at the tiny intruder with a gaze that could freeze a soul. An enormous golden dragon stands before him, radiating a divine presence that fills every corner of the vault. The protagonist refuses to back down because he knows this giant is only trying to test his resolve. He grits his tiny teeth and swears that he will never back down from this challenge. Pure demonic energy erupts as the warrior summons a massive dragon phantom to strike fear into his enemies. This giant golden beast stands perfectly still as it watches the tiny creature try to act tough in the vault. Instead of a roar, he lets out a tiny sneeze that echoes through the room and ruins his cool moment. His balance fails as the little guy tumbles backward and lands on his round butt like a complete amateur. That golden dragon leans down and mockingly suggests that the tiny monster must be shaking with absolute terror. Tears well up in his big red eyes because his pride is taking a bigger hit than his physical body right now. Bright light consumes the area before a stunning blonde woman appears to hold the little beast in her arms. She introduces herself as Christina and wonders if her human form is less intimidating for the poor creature. Christina sits among the gold and asks the hero if he needs something to eat after his long sleep. Memory takes him back to his old life when he could survive for an entire month without a single meal. Suddenly a massive sound ripples through the chamber as his stomach decides to betray his warrior dignity. Red blush covers his face as he realizes the lady heard that loud growl coming from his tiny belly. Hunger is a powerful force that overrides his legendary reason and makes him feel like a helpless baby. Her hands glow with a mysterious blue energy as she decides to keep her wits about her during this encounter. A mysterious woman watches the tiny beast as she holds a bottle filled with a glowing liquid. She smiles warmly as she prepares a special treat for the creature trapped in this mountain of gold. The cap pops open and releases a fragrance that catches the legendary warrior completely off guard. His nose twitches as he tries to identify the strange aroma wafting through the cold air. Large pupils sparkle with realization because that intoxicating scent belongs to a fresh bottle of milk. Instinct takes over his body and makes his throat tighten with a sudden and uncontrollable thirst. This mighty slayer hesitates for a second, wondering if he should actually accept a gift from a stranger. Internal conflict brews inside his mind as he stares at the offering with a very serious expression. Her hand moves to pull the bottle back after assuming the creature hates the smell today. Panic strikes the little dragon as he realizes his dinner is about to vanish right before his eyes. He leaps forward with a desperate cry and grabs the bottle like his entire life depends on it. Every drop feels like heaven as the tiny creature gulps down the milk with pure and unadulterated joy. Milk forms a white mustache on his face as he questions how a simple drink could taste so legendary. Sparkles surround his tiny body because this milk is clearly the best thing he ever tasted in both lives. Soft laughter echoes through the vault as the warrior feels a bit embarrassed by his own cute behavior. A beautiful woman with golden hair gazes down at the tiny creature with a gentle and inviting expression on her face. She reaches out her hand and asks the little monster if he wants to leave this golden prison and follow her home. Promises of delicious food and exciting adventures fill the air as she tries to convince the beast to trust her today. Confusion clouds his mind since the language is still a bit foreign, but the intent behind her words is crystal clear. This lady radiates a kind aura, and there is nothing else in this room besides piles of gold that he cannot even eat. Survival instincts kick in because a small body like this needs a powerful guardian to stay alive in a world of predators. The tiny beast lies to himself, saying it has nothing to do with that delicious milk she provided just a few moments ago. Small claws grab the hem of her white dress as the legendary warrior chooses his new path with a tiny bit of hesitation. Soft laughter escapes her lips as the lady welcomes the little dragon into her life with open arms and a gentle touch. She picks him up gently as she confesses that she truly feared the egg would never hatch after so many years of waiting. Tears almost well up in her eyes as she thanks the creature just for existing and being born into this strange world. Shock freezes his heart because nobody ever thanked him for something as simple as being alive in his previous violent life. Such a feeling is definitely awkward for a cold-blooded killer, but he decides that being her baby might not be so bad. Darkness reminds him that the original soul of this body is likely gone and he is merely an intruder in a dead child's place. Small limbs reach out as the protagonist offers the purple gem as a gift to the woman who saved him from the dark today. This beautiful lady pulls the creature into a warm embrace because she hates seeing her guardian looking so depressed. Hearts float in the air as she wonders how such an adorable little thing could even exist in this world. Golden light surrounds her as she walks through the horde and promises to take care of the beast from now on. The dragon looks back at his new mistress and feels a strange sense of gratitude for this second chance. Silence falls over the mountain of gold as the tombstone stands as a reminder of the peace he needs to find. Determination burns in his tiny soul because this time he refuses to die like a helpless dog in the dirt. Crimson eyes glow with a dark resolve as he decides to use every single resource in this room to gain power. Deep sleep takes over his small body as the warrior snores loudly among the most expensive jewels in the kingdom. Sunlight pierces through his eyelids and wakes the legendary fighter from a very long and peaceful dream. That massive yawn shows off his tiny fangs and he unfolds his limbs before starting another day of training. 1 month passes in the blink of an eye and the hero prepares for his daily meditation to refine his inner energy. Those tiny limbs felt awkward before, but he finally feels comfortable in his new skin today. Magical energy swirls inside his chest naturally because this exotic body absorbs mana without any extra effort. Fire erupts from her hands and proves that magic is common in this realm for everyone to use. Such a unique advantage allows the warrior to focus entirely on his lower mana pool to reach a higher state of power. Pure mana flows through this sacred hall as if the very air itself was made of magic. This brand new body feels incredible since it is completely free from any worldly impurities. Only one tiny detail keeps bothering the legendary warrior as he glares with his crimson eyes. Every single movement feels weird because of these tiny wings that keep fluttering behind his back. Annoyance fills his heart as he stares at the glowing ball of light that follows him everywhere. Silence fills the room, but the tiny beast wonders if this magical pest ever goes to sleep. Christina summoned this annoying spirit to watch over him because she was too worried about his safety. Physical training is impossible now since this floating snitch watches every single move he makes. Quick movements are out of the question because he needs to escape without triggering an alarm. That glowing ball runs straight to the lady and forces her to come back for the baby. Purple energy erupts from his small paws as his internal power starts reaching a whole new level. Focus sharpens inside his pupils since it is finally time to test his true magical capabilities. Light consumes the entire room as the protagonist prepares to cast a complex teleportation spell. Fighting a monster head-on would be much simpler than dealing with this pesky little guardian spirit. Plans begin to form in his mind because he needs a perfect countermeasure for this glowing intruder. This attempt to speak turns into a disaster because structural issues in this tiny mouth make every word sound like a squeak. Every fix for this embarrassing speech impediment seems impossible until this small body finally grows into a larger form. Red cheeks burn as the former warrior begs the light spirit to stop the constant praise before he dies of embarrassment. Sensory nerves tingle as a familiar and powerful mana flow suddenly ripples through the air nearby. Christina enters the room with a majestic blue aura and asks if her little pet has been a good boy during her absence. A quick dash toward the woman shows his hunger because his stomach is currently feeling completely empty and weak. Sweet words flow from her lips as she mistakenly believes the tiny beast came out just to give her a warm welcome. Fingers gently pry his mouth open to check if those small baby teeth are strong enough to chew through real pieces of meat. The little monster nods aggressively to confirm his hunger and makes her laugh with his impressive intelligence. Ancient secrets remain hidden behind that cute face as the 900-year-old beast finds this situation ridiculous. Fake behavior as a mindless animal works perfectly since she doesn't suspect a single thing about his true identity. Soft hands lift the creature into the air as the girl wonders if he wants to be held instead of receiving his milk. Survival depends on staying on her good side, so he accepts the affection with a very loud and fake squeak. Bright blue eyes sparkle with genuine love and kindness while looking down at the most dangerous pet in the entire world. Christina pulls him close for a warm hug and declares that this hatchling is the cutest thing she has ever seen. Christina holds the tiny beast and admits she completely lost track of time as she looks at his cute round face. She presents a bottle of fresh milk and the little dragon gets hyped because this is exactly what he wanted today. Every single drop of this liquid makes his shameful acting worth the effort as he gulps it down with pure joy. His crimson eyes focus on the lady as he remembers how his meals usually go with her by his side lately. This beautiful woman always sits right next to him and talks about her day as he focuses on his favorite snack. Listening to stories was never his style during his previous life as a lonely monster with no friends to call his own. He slowly begins to realize that simply venting her thoughts to him makes her feel much better after a long day. Her expression brightens instantly as a much more relaxed smile appears on her face thanks to his silent company. Constant eavesdropping helped him master the language and gather vital information about this mysterious new world. That soft voice calls him a little one as she moves closer to see if his belly is finally full enough for a break. Christina wonders if he finished his meal because she has a very special request for her adorable companion right now. She clasps her hands together and begs the little dragon to do something cute for her with those big sparkling eyes. His pride as a divine beast who lived for 999 years screams against such a pathetic display. One loud shout of joy escapes her lips as the hero forces a fake smile that totally destroys his warrior reputation. It is only logical to give something back in return for the food even if his soul is currently weeping with shame. Christina gently strokes the baby dragon as she calls him cute and the little warrior feels quite embarrassed by the attention. He tries to stay serious but he simply cannot be rude to the beautiful lady who basically saved his life from that dark vault. Soft hands touch his scales as she wishes for his eternal happiness and hopes he lives a truly wonderful life in this new world. Listening to her sincere words makes the ancient soul realize that this woman is actually the kindest person he has ever met. Sunflowers surround her as she radiates a divine beauty that proves her heart is as pure as the light itself. Kindness is a foreign concept for a former killer, so he struggles to find a way to repay this debt of gratitude to his master. Memories from his previous life resurface when he recalls a mysterious person who once asked if he truly enjoyed his training. A white-haired fox girl appears in his mind and questions why he stays stuck in one place just to achieve ascension. She looks into his eyes and wonders if chasing such a massive goal actually brings any real happiness to his cold heart. A sudden strike to the head catches him off guard since she calls him a dummy for having such a narrow view on their goals. He glares at the fox lady and asks what she is even looking at to make such a bold claim about his inner feelings today. Her blue eyes pierce through his defenses because she wonders if this powerful warrior has ever felt a single moment of joy. The fox girl questions if he even knows what it feels like to be adored or the sensation of being truly loved. Pride takes over as the warrior claims that trivial emotions have no place for someone destined to become a divine dragon. He scolds the girl because she is also a beast destined for a higher state and yet she clings to trivial human feelings. His crimson eyes focus as he declares his absolute desire to finally become a real human being one day. That white-haired fox spirit laughs at him because she thinks his dream sounds completely crazy and impossible. She confesses that she found someone to love who doesn't care that she is actually a mythical nine-tailed fox. Genuine love makes a person want to repay that affection with everything they have in their soul. A gentle smile covers her face as she hopes the day comes when he finally understands these complex feelings. He thinks she is being a total dummy because a cold warrior like him will never fall for such human traps. This path to becoming human means she can never return, but he refuses to ruin her happy moment today. Deep down he truly hopes she lives a wonderful life filled with the love she has always wanted. The fox girl pouts and wonders why her friend is making such a serious face all of a sudden. Her voice tells him to stop mumbling and just say something mean like the grumpy warrior he usually is. Both of them turn into tiny versions as she screams about how much she hates him for being so dense. That angry spirit runs away and calls him a clueless monster who doesn't understand anything about a heart. Even after all that yelling, she gives him a warm smile and thanks him for just listening to her story. Tiny paws tap on the floor as the hero realizes he finally learned the true meaning of repaying affection. Christina steps through a magical portal and wonders if her little dragon was waiting for her return today. Christina notices the little beast and wonders if he was actually waiting for her this whole time. He decides to take his very first steps to prove that his tiny body is growing stronger every single day. This tiny genius hopes that showing off his progress will finally convince her to remove that annoying spirit. Sudden tears fill her eyes as the girl watches her pet walk, and he wonders why on earth she is crying now. Christina moves like a lightning bolt as she lunges forward to grab the most precious creature in the world. She squeezes him so tightly that the legendary warrior wonders if he might actually explode from all this love. The lady sets him down gently and mentions a special surprise she brought back just for her favorite beast. Hope glimmers in his crimson eyes as he wonders if this present is another delicious meal to fill his belly. Her mysterious words suggest this food is perfect for a baby who still has those tiny and useless dragon teeth. She reveals a massive white egg that radiates a divine aura from deep within its thick and ancient shell. This bag contains several phoenix eggs, which are known to be the most legendary delicacy in the entire empire. A soft golden glow begins to pulse from the center of the egg as if a sacred fire is burning inside. Legends describe the phoenix as an immortal bird that lives through a constant cycle of burning, death, and rebirth. Our hero remains skeptical because he remembers the real vermilion bird was never actually born from a simple egg. He reaches out with a small paw to grab the bag strap and prepares to claim his legendary divine snack. Tiny paws drag a heavy sack across the stone floor as Christina watches her little pet with a look of pure amazement. The weight of the large eggs makes his small body shake, but this warrior refuses to give up on his precious meal today. One quick strike cracks the shell as the lady covers her face because the sight of him eating is just too adorable to handle. Success tastes sweet when the golden shell finally breaks apart to reveal the glowing yolk hidden deep inside the egg. His jaw drops wide to consume the entire prize because a legendary hunger demands a feast fit for a true dragon king. Divine flavors explode inside his mouth as he realizes this simple meal is actually far better than anything from his past. Christina explains that these eggs were roasted in dragon flames to create a unique delicacy for her precious little friend. Warmth spreads through his veins since he can clearly sense the traces of fire mana hidden within every single bite. The lady presents a bottle of fresh milk and tells him to slow down before he chokes on all that delicious food. Every single drop vanishes instantly as the hatchling gulps down the liquid to wash away the heat of the fire mana. Smooth textures glide down his throat and leave the warrior wondering if life as a pet is actually his true calling. Greedy claws reach for the next target because one egg is never enough to satisfy the bottomless pit in his stomach. Something feels different about this specific shell as he notices a red egg that is much harder than the rest of the pile. Logic suggests saving the toughest challenge for later, so he pushes the mysterious egg aside to focus on the easier snacks. Victory leads to a total collapse as the little dragon lies on his back with a belly so full he can barely breathe. Christina smiles with pure joy because her little pet finally finished his massive meal today. Soft fingers brush against his head as she tells the little one to get some much-needed rest now. Golden heels click against the floor as the beautiful lady heads out to finish her own business. A massive yawn escapes his tiny throat because digesting such a large amount of food is actually hard work. Crimson eyelids grow heavy and he slowly drifts into a deep food coma that no warrior can resist. Deep inside the soft basket, the legendary beast snores away, dreaming of his past glory as a dragon. Sudden movement shakes his tiny frame as those small wings flutter with a life of their own in the light. Those sharp eyes snap open again as his consciousness returns to the reality of this peaceful room. Tiny paws push against the soft pillow as he lets out a high-pitched squeak that sounds totally pathetic. Our hero sits up straight and wonders if he really just spent the entire afternoon sleeping like a baby. Silence fills the air, but he notices a strange new object sitting just a few feet away from his basket. A basket filled with fresh eggs catches his attention and he realizes Christina left him another snack. Drool pools in his mouth as the former warrior questions if his stomach has enough room for one more bite. Excitement makes his wings flap wildly because eating just one more egg surely cannot hurt his training. This leap toward the food is just a tactical move to absorb more fire mana for his ancient soul. Small claws rest on the smooth surface as he prepares to break the most stubborn shell in the world. Crimson eyes narrow with intense focus since this specific egg feels completely different from the others. Our hero scans the room to ensure that no one is watching his pathetic struggle with a simple piece of food. This is a perfect chance to test his real strength before the golden mistress returns to the chamber. Purple lightning dances between his tiny paws as he concentrates every ounce of mana into a single point. Sweat drops from his forehead because maintaining this much power in such a weak body is absolute torture. One explosive strike hits the shell with the force of a falling meteor, but the result is not what he expected. Reality seems to shake for a second as the impact creates a blinding flash of light across the entire vault. Confusion washes over the warrior when he realizes his best attack failed to leave even a single scratch. Gravity pulls him back down and he stares at the egg wondering if this thing is actually made of diamond. That tiny tongue licks his sore paw while he admits that this snack is definitely not going to make things easy. Pride prevents him from giving up, so he starts gathering a much more dangerous level of demonic energy. Tiny limbs push off the ground as he lunges into the air with a desperate roar for his legendary meal. Massive bolts of electricity erupt from his core until the entire room glows with a terrifying purple hue. A giant dragon phantom emerges behind the hatchling as he unleashes a cry that echoes through the ancient halls. Purple light erupts as the tiny beast unleashes a massive wave of energy to finally crack the legendary egg. Flat on the floor, he catches his breath and wonders if that risky move actually worked on the thick shell. Pure smugness fills his face because he truly believes his ancient power is the greatest force in the world. Saliva drips from his mouth as the hatchling prepares to feast on the warm contents of the broken treasure. Sudden movement from the shell stops him in his tracks and makes the dragon question if his meal is alive. Thin cracks spread across the surface as a mysterious creature pushes through from the other side of the wall. Sharp crimson eyes widen in shock when the protagonist notices a tiny white head emerging from the wreckage. Tiny white feathers appear instead of a delicious yolk and leave the former warrior completely stunned. Our hero stares at the bird and wonders how a roasted egg could possibly produce a living thing like this. Friendly chirps fill the air as the bird looks at him as if it finally found its long-lost father today. Fast movements catch him off guard when the white bird starts flying around his head at a high speed. Gentle rubs against his scaly cheek make the dragon feel incredibly awkward about this new development. Analytical thoughts fill his mind as he begins to measure the strange mana flowing through the small bird. Intense fire energy erupts from those feathers and it is clearly mixed with his own unique dragon power. This small bird is actually a reborn phoenix that somehow absorbed his mana to create a permanent soul bond. Crimson eyes snap open as a sudden realization hits the legendary warrior like a massive physical blow. Fire energy swirls around a tiny white bird that looks far too innocent to possess such a devastating amount of mana. Memories of his stolen power flash through his mind as he sees the creature absorbing every single drop of his energy. Our hero collapses on the stone floor wondering if his entire life's work is now trapped inside this fluffy ball. Rage boils within his small chest because he spent centuries gathering that strength just for a bird to steal it away. Confusion replaces anger since the little thief keeps making those high-pitched sounds that make no sense to his ears. That small avian creature refuses to leave his side and keeps nuzzling his face with an annoying amount of affection. Legendary phoenixes are supposed to be majestic beasts, but this one acts like a clingy child desperate for attention. Everything finally starts to make sense as a legendary theory about ancient birds begins to form in his clever mind. Divine creatures often bond with the first living soul they see, and this process is known across the world as imprinting. Tiny paws hit the ground with speed as the warrior decides to test if this bird will actually follow him everywhere. A quick dash across the room proves useless because the feathered pest stays right on his tail like a loyal soldier. Frustration mounts as he stops to glare at the intruder, but the bird only looks back with those sparkling black eyes. They run in circles like a comedy show and prove that escaping this bond is going to be a total nightmare for our hero. Exhaustion takes over as the dragon realizes this little phoenix is now his permanent shadow for the rest of this life. This tiny warrior feels like a squeezed lemon because that magical birth drained every single drop of his ancient power. Those big red eyes watch the bird and he wonders if this pathetic feathered thief is even capable of flying yet. A solid plan to ignore the constant chirping seems like the best strategy since even a legendary beast needs some peace. Silence finally begins to settle in as the noisy bird loses its steam and the annoying sounds slowly fade away today. Unusual sniffles echo through the room and make the protagonist question if something is actually wrong with his new pet. Tears stream down that round face and the dragon cannot believe this divine creature is actually crying like a baby. Anger flares up because this bird brain stole his mana and now has the audacity to act like the victim in this room. Golden light fills the majestic hallway as the silence of the palace remains unbroken by any intruders or loud noises. Christina rushes through the corridor feeling guilty for being so late to feed her favorite little monster today. Fresh snacks fill her basket and she worries if the hatchling is currently starving without any delicious food nearby. Her gentle voice calls out to the little one as the lady peeks through the door with a warm and loving expression. Small pieces of broken shells cover the floor and lead her to believe the dragon ate everything before falling asleep. Shock covers her face as she notices something completely unexpected resting right inside that soft wooden basket. Both creatures sleep soundly together and create the most adorable scene that any human eye has ever witnessed before. Pure disbelief hits her heart as Christina wonders if this tiny white bird is actually a legendary phoenix from the myths. This tiny white bird chirps with total confusion while staring directly at the legendary warrior before its eyes. Christina returns with more food and stops in her tracks after seeing the unexpected visitor in the vault today. Shock fills her bright blue eyes as she witnesses a miracle that should be completely impossible in this era. Intense heat radiates from the basket because a divine fire suddenly consumes the small creature in a golden flash. This newborn stands its ground against a dragon aura despite being a tiny ball of fluff with pure fire mana. Legend says this divine firebird traverses the gardens of gods just to protect the last black dragon on earth. Fate connects these two ancient souls as ripples of destiny begin to change the future of this mysterious world. Our mistress wonders how to handle such a fragile being since using force is out of the question for her. Small paws reach out toward the feathered intruder while the protagonist struggles to accept this weird situation. That loud chirp echoes through the chamber and catches the former slayer completely off guard with its high pitch. A sudden blush covers his face as he realizes this bird is actually quite adorable for a divine thief of power. Every instinct tells him to be gentle because this little creature technically saved his life after that mana explosion. Confusion remains as he wonders why a living bird came out of a roasted egg meant for his delicious afternoon snack. Ancient laws state that only one phoenix can exist per generation, which makes this birth even more suspicious. Christina grows serious because the current phoenix of this era is supposed to be alive and well somewhere else. Christina looks at the swirling mana and wonders if this strange union between light and dark is a sign of a new era. She calls for her loyal light spirit named Rai because this mysterious development is something she cannot ignore today. This blonde lady needs to visit an ancient dragon elder named Phasaeus to discuss the nature of this unique hatchling. Rai promises to keep everything under control as the beautiful mistress expresses her gratitude for his dedicated service. Her request is simple as she tells her pet to behave and the warrior responds with a very fake and adorable squeak. That cute wave is actually a celebration because her departure finally gives the legendary dragon some much-needed free time. The sight of them together makes the lady feel a bit uneasy, but she senses the little guy can handle any trouble on his own. This creature possesses a level of maturity that suggests he already follows a strict set of personal values from the past. Most young beasts struggle with their power, but the hero manipulates his mana with a mastery that defies all known logic. Pure energy flows with absolute precision under his command, proving his soul is far more advanced than his tiny physical form. A sudden memory of her own master resurfaces as Christina questions the true origins of the gift she received years ago. This hooded figure entrusted the egg to her care and she wonders if he placed a special blessing on the child beforehand. Secrets of the past do not change her resolve because she chooses to love this baby regardless of his mysterious background. Golden hair flows as she offers to be his teacher before saying goodbye with a smile that lights up the entire stone room. One last thought strikes his mind as the tiny dragon wonders if this is the right time to start his secret investigation. Word reaches the palace that the child of the powerful Fasayas is actually a gifted genius with massive potential. This young boy might actually become a useful ally for the mistress during these complicated and dangerous times. Destiny works in mysterious ways, and there is a high chance that these two will eventually become very close friends. Rumors suggest the young master is a talented genius who spends every single day studying ancient texts in the library. A strong connection with such a brilliant mind could provide the exact help that Christina needs right now. Perhaps this fated meeting will lead to a bond stronger than anything the imperial court has ever seen before today. Christina commands her guardian spirit to keep a close eye on the situation and report any strange events immediately. She looks at her tiny pet and tells the little guy to stay by her side until they reach the final destination safely. Our hero feels a bit awkward and wonders why this beautiful lady is taking so long to finally leave the room today. That soft hand reaches out and squishes his chubby cheek as the former warrior lets out a tiny and confused squeak. Affection overflows as she gives him a gentle kiss on the head, making the legendary dragon blush with embarrassment. Christina waves goodbye and promises to return as fast as possible while the little phoenix chirps happily in the basket. Sunlight follows her through the doorway as the lady departs to handle the heavy duties of her noble household today. Tiny ears twitch with anticipation as the protagonist waits for the sound of her footsteps to vanish into the distance. Silence finally returns to the vault as the tiny monster wonders if his overprotective master is truly gone for good now. A tiny black paw clenches with a strength that suggests a legendary warrior is finally ready for some real action today. He throws both arms into the air and screams with pure delight because he is finally free from that boring shell. Staying cooped up in a cradle is impossible for a dragon who was never meant to spend his life hiding under a pillow. Too many restrictions prevented him from training properly until this very moment of freedom arrived for the beast. Rai seems to have given up on guarding the cradle since the little monster keeps wandering around the palace floors. A tiny white bird chirps loudly as it follows the protagonist with a level of persistence that is starting to get annoying. Those sparkling eyes beg for a chance to travel together, but our hero refuses to be swayed by such a pathetic display. Fury burns inside his soul as he wonders why a legendary phoenix is acting like a clingy child in front of a real warrior. That little bird bites his face out of nowhere and catches the legendary slayer completely off guard with its boldness. He shakes the creature off until it flutters through the air as it tries to maintain its balance in this big room. Dealing with this nuisance is exhausting, so he decides to let the bird ride on his head just to get some peace today. They walk across the marble floor as a strange trio consisting of a dragon and a bird and a floating light spirit. His eyes focus on a massive golden door handle that looks like the perfect challenge for his new physical capabilities. Muscles tense up as the warrior prepares to launch his chubby body into the air with a single explosive movement. Dust flies everywhere as the little dragon leaps forward with everything he has to reach the golden prize above his head. Tiny paws reach for the golden handle as the hero prepares for his grand escape from this luxurious prison cell. Metal clinks against metal, but the door remains shut tight because even a legendary warrior cannot beat a simple lock. Quiet whispers fill the air as the hatchling wonders why his glowing guardian is acting so strangely today. Dark purple energy swirls around his small form because this ordinary hatchling still carries the soul of a dragon king. Ancient mana flows through the mechanism as the warrior uses his superior knowledge to pick the lock with ease. These massive gates finally creak open as the protagonist lets out a tiny triumphant squeak for his first victory. Survival instincts kick in as the little monster wonders if that floating spirit will actually call for his master. That annoying ball of light starts vibrating wildly as if it finally realized its prisoner was making a move to escape. Panic almost takes over his mind until he notices the strange reaction coming from the glowing orb right now. Permission comes unexpectedly as the floating sphere nods its head to let the little dragon explore the hallway alone. Confusion settles in his mind, but the warrior decides that a cooperative snitch is better than a loud alarm. Small muscles flex as he pushes the heavy wood aside to finally see what lies beyond his golden cage today. Crimson eyes widen in pure shock as a reflection of something truly massive glimmers inside his dark pupils. Everything feels way too large as the hero stares at a hallway that seems to stretch into the infinite horizon. Christina left the door open because she knew a tiny baby like him could never navigate such a vast labyrinth. Christina probably thinks this tiny hatchling is stuck inside the room because his body is way too small to wander far. Slow movements are definitely not his style, especially without the help of some high-level teleportation magic. A devious smile creeps onto his face because our hero already prepared a secret way to escape this boring gold prison. Purple energy surges through his veins as he recalls every single detail of the mana flow he felt when Christina used magic. Constant observation allows the former warrior to replicate the complex spell despite his currently pathetic mana pool. Surrounding mana responds to his will like a natural limb and gives him the ability to sense the entire dragon lair at once. This little light spirit looks absolutely terrified as the baby dragon prepares to jump into the unknown parts of the world. That annoying snitch tries to run and report the situation, but it is already too late for anyone to stop the plan today. Those tiny paws leave the ground as the massive magic circle illuminates the floor with a blinding burst of ancient power. Space itself bends around the hatchling when he shouts the word teleportation to finish this daring escape from his cradle. Bright rays of sunlight cut through the magical discharge as the warrior finally breaches the barrier of his golden home. High above a lush green valley, the small creature falls through the clouds with a sense of freedom he hasn't felt in years. Crimson eyes reflect the beauty of the outside world and confirm that his journey to regain power has officially begun now. Everything looks completely different from his past life, which makes the legendary beast wonder what other secrets await him. Gravity pulls him down rapidly, but the former Dragon King only feels excitement about exploring this brand new world today. This feathered thief teleports high into the air to avoid getting stuck in the terrain like a pro. Gravity strikes back as the former Dragon King faceplants into the dirt with a loud and pathetic thud. Shame covers his chubby face because he was way too low to even try spreading his tiny useless wings today. That little firefly spirit begins freaking out as if it just witnessed the end of the entire universe. Both creatures tilt their heads in confusion since Christina always makes high-level magic look so simple. A sudden realization hits him because normal hatchlings are definitely not supposed to know teleportation. The glowing guard looks absolutely depressed, realizing its job just became 1,000,000 times harder than before. Dark thoughts fill his mind as he wonders if this mess is even within a manageable range for a baby. Watching them together makes it clear that the Golden Lady operates on a level of power he cannot fathom yet. If every newborn beast could jump through space, then no cage in this world would ever hold a pet for long. Christina likely left a single guard because she never expected her dragon to be a magical genius in disguise. Confidence wavers as he tries to convince himself that everything is still under control despite the chaos. Nervous sweat drops from his chin while the legendary warrior lets out another high-pitched and weak cry. Panic sets in as he remembers that using such advanced magic just blew his secret cover forever. Overthinking proves useless, so he stares at the quiet bird, wondering why the fluffy pest stopped chirping. A tiny paw reaches out to pet the fluffy phoenix bird as it lets out a very confused and high-pitched chirp today. Our little hero shakes off his confusion and decides to explore the forest to finally figure out his current location. Bright red eyes scan the area with intense focus as the former Dragon King tries to maintain his dignity in this body. This wild exploration is a massive adventure for someone this small, since even a simple river feels like a vast ocean. Muscles flex as he scales a giant tree trunk because a better vantage point is essential for any legendary scout today. Twigs and leaves brush against his dark scales while the warrior pushes forward through the dense and green foliage. Suddenly the thick bushes trap his chubby frame and make the mighty slayer struggle against some simple garden plants. Victory comes at last as he pops his head out from the greenery to breathe the fresh air of the outside world again. Analytical vision kicks in as he carefully observes every single detail of the surrounding mountain range from his spot. His gaze locks onto a massive golden dome that radiates a divine power and identifies it as Christina's secret lair. Reflection of the distant sanctuary glimmers in his crimson pupils as he realizes how majestic the place looks today. Ancient mana flows through the earth as the magical barrier merges perfectly with the natural landscape of the valley. That scouting mission is finally complete, so the tiny dragon prepares to end his journey before getting caught. One quick stretch of his tiny limbs helps him get ready for the long trek back to his comfortable golden cradle room. That glowing spirit remains alert because even an accidental teleportation failed to catch this warrior off guard today. He dashes through the green fields using all his wisdom to hold back his true overwhelming strength today. Thoughts of a future where his mistress praises his talent make the tiny beast feel like a spoiled little puppy. A calm attitude is essential because any sudden display of power might make the Golden Lady suspicious of his past. Every single step must be perfectly calculated as he trots through the forest to ensure that everything goes smoothly. Sudden twitching of his nose stops him in his tracks as a mysterious and sweet aroma fills the cold morning air. His nose leads him toward the thick bushes where a mysterious and intoxicating treasure remains hidden from view. Pure excitement sparkles in those big red eyes because he finally found something that makes his heart skip a beat. Hidden deep within the tall grass, a single red fruit shines like a precious ruby under the bright midday sun. This is actually wild ginseng, which is a legendary heavenly seed that only grows in the most sacred of places. Natural energy radiates from the leaves and proves that items found on this holy mountain are on a different level. One single bite of this plant could potentially restore a huge chunk of his lost mana and ancient dragon strength. Hunger takes over as his tiny paw reaches out to claim the prize that will change his destiny in this world. Space ripples when that annoying light spirit suddenly dives in front of the plant to block his greedy path today. That glowing ball of light spins around the fruit like a dedicated guardian who refuses to let him take a bite. Frustration boils over as he tries to swat that damn fairy away before it ruins his only chance for a power-up. This exploration through the forest is a nightmare because the feathered pest refuses to stop annoying our hero today. That white bird strikes a serious pose as if it actually knows how to survive in the wild without any human help at all. Sudden movements catch the dragon off guard when the bird lunges at a target with surprising speed and pure aggression. Opportunities arise as the little monster spots a legendary herb hidden deep within the tall green grass of the valley. That giant root proves difficult to swallow since his tiny mouth was never meant to consume such a massive piece of nature. Every single bite feels like a challenge, but the warrior refuses to let go of this precious source of ancient energy now. Our hero believes everything is finally under control once that bitter root is safely tucked inside his chubby cheeks. Strange changes in the air suggest that this simple plant was actually a dangerous trap meant for greedy young beasts. Agony rips through his small body as a terrifying scream escapes his throat because the plant is actually poison today. Vision blurs as a dark purple aura consumes his sight, making the former slayer wonder if his life ends right here. Even the brave white phoenix begins to freak out after seeing its master coughing like he just swallowed a whole desert. Only one option remains, but his tiny legs feel like lead as he struggles to move through the thick and dense jungle. Realization hits him hard since this fake heavenly seed is actually a cursed item that drains his remaining mana pool. Guilt fills his heart because he dragged his innocent companions into this deadly mess far away from the safe castle. Darkness finally takes over as the legendary dragon collapses on the cold ground and stays surrounded by a strange green mist. Strange leather boots crush the vibrant green grass as a mysterious figure approaches the fallen warrior. Green waves of magical energy surround his tiny body and the hero struggles to move his exhausted limbs. That fluffy phoenix stares at the glowing spirit with total confusion as they watch a stranger arrive. Sharp emerald eyes peer from beneath a dark hood and reveal a mysterious presence in this deep forest. This unknown traveler stands tall among the trees and radiates a calming aura that feels surprisingly ancient. Slender fingers weave a spell that lifts the small dragon high into the air with incredible magical precision. A steady hand reaches deep inside the dark cloak to retrieve something hidden from the prying eyes of the spirits. This mysterious wanderer offers a glowing brown pill to the dragon, who looks absolutely drained of all mana. Every single ounce of strength begins to return as the tiny beast swallows the bitter medicine without hesitation. Warmth flows through his veins as the hero floats within the green light while his core starts to stabilize. Crimson eyes widen in total shock because the small creature wonders what kind of medicine could be so powerful. That hooded girl looks back one last time and wonders if this little monster is really worth the trouble today. Shadows swallow the mysterious traveler as she disappears into the woods before the warrior can even say a word. Gravity returns him to the soft grass as the protagonist tries to process why a total stranger helped him out. Those two loyal companions rush toward their leader and hope that his tiny body is finally out of danger now. Fatigue consumes his tiny frame as the little dragon huddles with his bird friend to recover some of his missing mana today. Christina walks through the sacred area with a gentle smile because she finally reached the destination of her long journey. She stands before a massive presence and whispers a greeting that suggests a long history between these two powerful souls. Fire erupts as Visayas reveals his true form, making the air tremble under the weight of such a terrifying ancient dragon aura.